Hello friends, today we will learn about organisms of health and agricultural importance. The occurrence of diseases and searching of their causes goes back to antiquity. Hippocrates, a Greek physician of the 4th and 5th century BC, is credited with being the first to adopt the concept that disease is not a vegetation of gods but rather is caused by earthly influences. Scientists have since continually searched for the causes of disease and indeed have discovered the causes of many. In the development of a disease, means pathogenesis, more is involved than merely exposure to its agents. Pathogenesis of disease include resistance, immunity, age, and nutritional state of the person exposed as well as virulence and level of exposure these all play a role in determining whether the person develops a disease. There are range of organisms exist that cause infectious disease include fungi, oomycetes, bacteria, viruses, viroids, virus-like organisms, phytoplasmas, protozoa, nematodes, and parasitic plants. Not included are ectoparasites like insects, mites, vertebrates, or other pests that also affect various animals, crops, and human too. Now, let's know about the overview of scientist named Robert Koch. Robert Koch overview. In 1876 to 1877, the German physician Robert Koch demonstrated that a specific infectious disease was caused by a specific microorganism. From his work, he devised that are now known as Koch postulates. Let's know about his postulates, Koch postulates. So, first point is the same pathogen must be present in every cases of the disease. Second point is the pathogen must be isolated from the diseased host and grown in pure culture. Third is the pathogen from the pure culture must cause the disease when it is introduced by inoculation into a healthy but susceptible organism. Fourth point is the pathogen must be isolated from the inoculated animal and be shown to be the original organism. Now let's know about exceptions to Koch postulates. What are the exceptions? First point is some bacteria and viruses cannot be grown on artificial media. They multiply only within the cell. Second point is some pathogens cause several disease conditions. Example: Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Streptococcus pyogenes. Now let's know about the bacteria. All bacteria, all bacteria are prokaryotes, but they are diverse in both their structure and metabolism. Bacteria are categorized according to the properties of their cell walls and characteristics such as cell shape, arrangements, oxygen requirements, and motility. Many bacteria are useful, but the relatively very few species that are pathogenic are responsible for enormous social and economic cost. Now let's know about eukaryotic pathogens. Eukaryotic pathogens like fungi, algae, protozoa and parasitic worms include pathogens responsible for malaria and schistosomiasis. Many are highly specialized parasites with a number of hosts. Serious fungal diseases are also more prevalent now than in the past, affecting those with compromised immune systems such as AIDS patient. Now come to viral pathogens. Viruses are responsible for many of the everyday diseases with which we are familiar, as well as rather more alarming and dangerous diseases such as Ebola, Viruses were first distinguished from other pathogens because of their small size and because they are obligate intracellular parasites and need living host cells in order to multiply. Now let's know about diseases of crops or plants. Viruses, bacteria, fungi, nematodes, etc. causes a number of diseases in crops and natural plants. Now let's know about common viral diseases of crops. Plant viruses are extremely small infectious agents that pass through fine filters and are visible only with the electron microscope. Viruses may all occur naturally as complexes or strain differing in mode. Mode of transmission, virulence, host plants attacked, symptom produced, and physical and chemical characteristics we can see. One, one plant species may cause susceptible to 20 to 40 different viruses. Plant viruses cause many major diseases of important food crops and such as potato, tomato, wheat, oats, rice, corn, peach, orange, sugar beet, sugarcane and palms. Diseases are generally most serious in plants that are vegetatively propagated. Virus infected plants are often more susceptible to root rots, stem or stalk rots, seedling blights, and possibly other types of diseases. Among the viruses affecting plants, tobacco mosaic virus (TMV) is the best known, has great economic importance. Besides affecting many members of the nightshades family, which includes tobacco, tomato, potato, pepper, eggplant, and petunia. TMV infects TMV means tobacco mosaic virus infects more than 70 species of plants in 14 other families. Symptoms characteristically appear as a dark green leaf blots, irregularly elevated and scattered. The remainder of the leaf becomes more and more pale green and sometimes yellow. The virus disease Corley top caused almost complete abandonment of the sugar beet industry in parts of the world from 1916 to 1932. When it was controlled by the development of resistant varieties intermittently, it still poses severe damage to tomatoes, beans, and other crops. The virus affects a wide range of cultivated or and weeds host in more than 70 different plant genera. Young susceptible beet plants turn yellow and usually die quickly when infected by virus. Spotted wilt transmitted by onion and flower thrift has become widespread and now is responsible for losses of tomato, potato, lettuce, pea, other vegetables and ornamentals in many parts of the world. Virus diseases of citrus are a major concern when wherever these crops are grown. For example, between 1936 and 1946, Tricen- Tristeza quick decline caused the loss of 7 lakh orange trees in the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Tristeza, Tristeza has attacked many millions of trees in various tropical and subtropical areas. Now let's know about common diseases caused by mycoplasmas. Since 1968, around 60 of the yellows or witches broom type diseases previously thought to be viral in origin have been shown to be caused by tiny unicellular organisms known as mycoplasmas. These are the simplest and smallest known organisms capable of growing in laboratory culture media. Plant mycoplasmas are characteristically delimited by a distinct double membrane that is flexible. Being soft and plastic, they assume a great variety of sizes and shapes. Aster yellows infects about 300 species of crop and weed plants in 48 families. The disease is common and destructive in most of the world where air temperatures do not persist much above 32 degrees centigrade. That means 90 degree Fahrenheit. High temperature inactivate the mycoplasma in plants and in the leafhopper vectors. Aster yellows can cause serious losses on China aster disease, chrysanthemum, lettuce, endive, escarole, carrot, turnip, celery, parsley, and New Zealand spinach. Diseased asters are stiff, upright, and stunted with numerous yellowish secondary shoots. Flowers are green and disordered, dwarfed, or lacking. Now let's know about common bacterial diseases of crops. Almost 200 species that cause plant disease infect more than 150 different genera of higher plants in more than 50 families. Bacterial diseases can be grouped into three categories: wilting, necrosis, and overgrowth of or hypertrophy. Wilting results from invasion of the vascular system of the plant by bacteria. Examples include bacterial wilts of sweet corn, alfalfa, tobacco, tomato, and cucurbits, and black rot of crucifers. Necrosis is a condition in which plant cells are killed, forming leaf spots, stem blights, or crackles and soft rots. Examples are delphinium black spot, fire blight of pome fruits, bacterial blights of beans and pears, and soft rot of iris. Examples of overgrowth or hypertrophy include crown gall of many plants, cane gall of brambles, hairy root of apple and olive knot. All true bacteria that cause plant disease are one-celled, rod-shaped organisms that do not spawn spores. Only five genera of the true bacteria cause plant diseases. About one half of the species are in the genus Pseudomonas. Another important genus is Xanthomonas, is characterized by the water-insoluble yellow pigment it forms when grown in the laboratory. In contrast to animal and human pathogens, those that infect plants are usually favored by a nearly natural medium. That means pH should be 6.5 to 7.5, and low temperature, that means 20 to 30 degree centigrade or 68 to 86 degree Fahrenheit. Bacterial pathogens enter plants through wounds, principally produced by adverse weather conditions. Man, tools and machinery, insects and nematodes or natural openings such as stomates, nectar producing glands and leaf scars. Most foliage invaders are spread from plant to plant by wind, blown, rain, or dust. Man disseminates bacteria through cultivation, grafting, pruning, and transporting diseased plant materials. Animals, including insects and mites, are other common transmission agents. Some bacteria, such as the causal agent of stewards or bacterial or wilt of corn, are not only spread by a flea beetle but also survive over winter in this insect. When conditions are unfavorable for growth and multiplication, bacteria remain dormant on or inside plant tissue. A few, such as the crown gall bacterium, may survive for months or years in the soil. Now let's know about fire blight. The first plant disease proved to be caused by bacterium was fire blight of apple, pear, quince, hawthorn, hawthorn, pyracantha, and related plants. Fire blight caused by Erwinia amylovora has destroyed all high quality pear orchards in parts of the United States. The bacteria invade flower, nectaries, and leaves, spread to young fruits, and pass rapidly down susceptible shoots in the phloem, darkening and killing the tissue. Extensive, slightly sunken crankers with a definite margin form, and during warm, moist weather, bacterial ooze appears on the surface. The bacteria overwinter at the edge of the crankers, on the branches or the trunk. Plant parts and other trees become infected when rain splashes the bacteria laden exudate that appears at the edge of crankers. Now let's know about crown gall. Perhaps the best known bacterial plant disease is crown gall, which derives its name from the rounded rock growth that appears at the stem base or root ground. The disease occurs widely over the world. The causative bacterium Agrobacterium tumefaciens, which is distributed with the with nursery stock, has a wide host range, affecting plants in more than 40 families, including peach, apple, pecan, grape, fig, raspberry, rose, willow, euonymus, and sugar beet. Now let's know about southern. Let's know about southern bacterial wilts. One of the most important bacterial diseases is the wilt caused by Pseudomonas solanacearum, which attacks tobacco, potato, tomato, eggplants, bean, banana, peanut, and numerous other vegetables and ornamental plants. The disease is disease occurs in warm temperature, subtropical and tropical areas throughout the world. Now let's know about common fungal diseases of crops. Of the 1 lakh described species of fungi, approximately 20,000 produce disease in plants. These include 4,600 rust, 700 smolts, and 1,000 powdery and downy mildews. A total of 6,300 obligate parasites. Fungi cause the great majority of infectious plant diseases. They include all white and true rust, smolts, needle casts, leaf calls, mildews, sooty molds, and anthracnose. Most leaf, fruit, and many others, all economically important plants, apparently are attacked by one or more fungi. Often 10 or 50 or more different fungi may cause disease on one plant species. Description of the various fungus groups and their activity appear elsewhere. Now let's know about late blight. Let's know about late blight. The causal fungus of late blight, that is Phytophthora infestans, occurs in cool, moist regions wherever potatoes are grown. A devastating epiphytotic of this disease on potato began in Europe in 1845 and brought about Irish famine that causes starvation, death, and mass migration of population in a population of 8 lakh, about 10 lakh, that means about 12 to 12.5% died of starvation, and 1,50,000 immigrants, mostly to the United States as refugees from the destructive blight. Now let's know about Dutch elm disease. Dutch elm disease. A serious new disease of elm was described in 1921 in the Netherlands, thus the name Dutch elm disease. The cause fungus is believed. This fungus was apparently introduced into the United States in 1930 on elm bark, burl logs imported for furniture veneer. Dutch elm disease was killed millions of elms in the eastern two-thirds of the US and Canada, and disease was continued to. Now let's study about black stem rust of wheat. One of the oldest and still important disease is black stem rust, which is caused by the fungus Puccinia graminis. All cereals and many grasses are infected by one of the six varieties of this rust. The black stem rust occurs essentially wherever wheat is grown. In 1935, this rust destroyed almost 60% of the total hard red spring wheat crop in Minnesota and the Dakotas. In 1953 and 1954, outbreak of black stem rust in the same area reduced yields as much as 80% on Durham, Durham wheats and 30% on spring wheats. Blister rust disease of wheat pines caused by Cronatium ribocola has a comparable cycle to black stem rust, but with gooseberries and currants as the alternate host. In this case, the white pines carry the fungus spore stages equivalent to those found in the barberry of the wheat rust disease and the stages infecting the ribes. Alternate hosts are like those found in the wheat plants. Now let's know about wood rots. Certain higher fungi actively decompose and stain forest timbers. Losses from dead trees and effects of decay on growth may approach 45% of the timber losses from all causes. Such fungi may decay lumber and wood products already in use, making expensive replacements necessary. Now let's know about common crop diseases caused by nematodes. Nematodes parasitic on plants are active, slender, unsegmented round worms, also called as nemas. The great majority cannot be seen with the eye because they are tiny and translucent. About 1,200 species cause disease in plants. Pro, um, Probably every form of plant and animal life is fed upon by at least one species of nematode. They usually live in soil and attack small roots, but some species inhabit and feed in bulbs, buds, stems, and leaves or flowers. Now let's know about common parasites of crops. A number of plants. Let's know more about nematodes. Root knot nematodes are well known because of conspicuous knots or gall-like swellings they induce on roots. Over 2000 kinds of higher plants are subject to their attack, and losses are often heavy, especially in warm regions with long growing seasons. Certain species, however, such as northern root knot nematode, that is M. hapla, are found where soil may freeze to a depth of nearly a meter. Vegetables, cotton, strawberries, and orchard trees are commonly attacked. Garden plants and ornamentals frequently become infested through nursery stock. Root lesion nematodes, cosmopolitan in distribution, are endoparasites that cause severe losses to hundreds of different crop and ornamental plants by penetrating roots and making their way through the tissues, breaking down the cells as they feed. The golden nematode of potatoes is a menace of the European potato industry. Great efforts have been made to control it. A related cyst forming species, the sugar beet nematode, is a pest that has restricted acreage of sugar beets in Europe, Asia, and America. The citrus nematode occurs wherever citrus is grown, exacting a heavy toll in fruit quality and production. The burrowing nematode is a serious endoparasite in tropical and subtropical areas where it attacks citrus, banana, avocado, tomato, black pepper, and abaca, and over 200 important crops, trees, and ornamentals, causing severe losses. Many important ectoparasites feed on plant roots, danger nematodes, stubby root nematodes, spiral nematodes, string nematodes, and pin nematodes, and live on foliar nematodes and bulb and stem nematodes cause severe losses in vegetative ornamental bulb crops, clovers, alfalfa, strawberry, sweet potato, orchids, chrysanthemum, begonia, ferns. Now let's know about the diseases of animals. Concern with disease that afflict animals dates from the earliest human contacts with animals and reflected in early views or of regions and magic. Diseases of animals remain a concern principally because of the economic losses they cause and the possible transmission of the causative agents to humans. The branch of medicine called veterinary medicine deals with the study, prevention, and treatment of diseases not only in domesticated animals but also in wild animals and in animals used in scientific research. The prevention, control, and eradication of diseases of economically important animals are agricultural concerns. Programs for the control of diseases communicable from animals to man called zoonoses, especially those in pets and in wildlife, are closely related to human health. Further, the diseases of animals are of increasing importance for a primary public health problem throughout the world is animal protein deficiency in the diet of humans. Indeed, both the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization and World Health Organization have been attempting to solve the problem of protein deficits in a world whose human population is rapidly expanding. Diseases may be either infectious or non-infectious. The term infectious, as observed earlier, implies an interaction between two living organisms called the host and the parasite. Infection is a type of parasitism which may be defined as the state of existence of one organism at the expense of another. That means host. The agent, example, certain viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoans, worms, and arthropods capable of producing disease are pathogens. The term pathogenicity refers to the ability of a parasite to enter a host and produce disease. The degree of pathogenicity, that is, the ability of an organism to cause infection, is known as virulence. The capacity of a virulent organism to cause infection is influenced both the characteristics of organism and by the ability of the host to repel the invasion and to prevent injury. The pathogen may be virulent for one host but not for another. Pneumococcal bacteria, for example, have a low virulence for mice and are not found in them in nature. If introduced experimentally into a mouse, however, the bacteria overwhelm its body defenses and cause death. Many pathogens are able to live outside the animal's body until conditions occur that are favorable for entering the and infecting it. Pathogens enter the body in various ways: by penetrating the skin or an eye, by being eaten with food, or by being breathed into the lungs. After their entry into a host, pathogens actively multiply and produce disease by interfering with the functions of specific organs or tissues of the host. Now let's know about some diseases. Now let's know about some diseases in animals. First is the black plague. The Black Death or the Black Plague was one of the most deadly pandemic in human history. It probably began in Central Asia and spread to Europe by the late 1340s. The total number of deaths worldwide from the pandemic is estimated at 75 million people. There were an estimated 20 to 30 million deaths in Europe alone. The Black Death is estimated to have killed between one third and two thirds of the Europe's population. Now let's know about polio. Poliomyelitis, 10,000 deaths since 1916, often called polio and infantile paralysis, is an actual viral infectious disease spread from person to person primarily via the fecal oral route. The term derives from the Greek polio, means grey, myelin, spinal cord, and it is which denotes the inflammation. Although roughly 90% of the polio infections are asymptomatic, infected individuals can exhibit a range of symptoms of the virus enters the bloodstream. In less than 1% of polio causes virus enters the central nervous system, preferentially infecting and destroying motor neurons, leading to muscle weakness and acute flaccid paralysis. Let's know about smallpox. Smallpox is a contagious disease unique to humans. Smallpox is caused by either of two virus variants, namely major and Virola minor. The deadlier form, V major, has a mortality rate of 30 to 35%, while V minor causes a milder form of disease called alastrim and kills 1% of its victims. Long-term side effects for survivors include uncharacteristic skin scares. Occasionally, side effects include blindness due to corneal ulcerations and infertility in male survivors. Smallpox killed an estimated 60 million Europeans, including 5 resident European monarchs in, in the 18th century alone. Up to 30% of those infected, including 80% of the children under 5 years of age, died from the disease, and one third of the survivors became blind. To this day, smallpox is the only human infectious disease to have completely eradicated from nature. Now, let's know about cholera. Okay. Now, let's know about the disease cholera. Cholera, nearly 12,000 deaths since 1991. From cholera, we will discuss. in next video. Thank you. Please subscribe my channel to know more updates.